Sometimes. It's hard to polish for a while.
I don't know. So no sooner than
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start by welcoming everyone, especially those on YouTube, because we're live streaming the meeting, to the October 2nd meeting of the Police Accountability Board. My name is William Clark. I am Chair of the Police Accountability Board, and I am the mayor's appointee. Tonight, we have two ASL interpreters, Madison Baldwin and James Brown. Thank you for being here. And with that, we're going to move into introductions. So I'll have our executive director and the members of the board introduce themselves.
Sure. Good evening, Chair Clark, and all the board members. My name is Dr. Leslie Myers-Small, and I proudly serve as the executive director.
I'm AJ Derwin. I'm the Northwest Council seat on the board.
Keith Patterson, Alliance CEO.
Luang Teklaab, the vice chair, and also the East District City Council.
Larry Knox, Northeast Council seat.
Yvonne Wilson, South Council seat. Arlene Brown, Alliance Council seat.
Again, thank you for joining us tonight. And we will start the meeting with the approval of the September 4th, 2025 minutes. Are there any adjustments or corrections to the minutes?
Just wondering. We do have absent excused Rabbi Settle, but she was actually no longer a board member. Our esteemed new colleague, AJ Duran, was absent, excused. He was actually excused. AJ wants to say anything as a new board member either.
And welcome, AJ, to your first board meeting, even though you're no stranger to the Police Accountability Board. So we do appreciate having you here. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I move.
Got a second? Great. All in favor? Aye. Great. Minutes have been approved, and we will move on to the executive director's report.
Thank you, and good evening again to each of our board members, to our staff and community members who are here in person, to our interpreters. Thank you again for being here, and those who are listening live or who will be listening later. Again, my name is Leslie Myers-Small, and I'm the executive director. I want to just begin my comments by just thanking the board for their commitment to advancing our mission and the vision of the Police Accountability Board. And so my report aims to provide updates on our activities, priorities, and challenges since our last meeting in September. If you look at your agenda, the first thing that I would like to comment on is the statewide consortium. And I know that Chair Clark also has some comments during his portion of the agenda, but I just wanted to let those who are listening know that we really made history and we had a hallmark event on September 20th. We had our first inaugural virtual conference of New York State Police Oversight Agencies. And for the public, there are 8 across the state. And so online, we had over 40 individuals, not only from the Rochester Police Accountability Board, but also from the other 7 agencies. We began with welcoming remarks, and we thank Brianna for being our technical guru in the background and doing the breakout groups, because you don't get to see the tech person all the time. But I certainly wanted to acknowledge you and thank you. I also wanted to thank Dejan Hall, our Director of Policy and Oversight, who served as the moderator. We began with a welcome and setting the tone from Chair Clark, so we thank you. So we helped to just set the tone for our time together. And then we had a rousing keynote address from Councilman Rashid Wyatt from the city of Buffalo And he talked about the future of civilian oversight in New York State. Particularly, specifically, he spoke about happenings in Buffalo. And so that really, again, set a nice tone for us to have conversations. Then we had AJ Derwin, our newest board member, really give a nice overview and lay the legal framework and groundwork. There were a lot of questions. I think everyone who was on there who wasn't from Rochester, and even some of us from Rochester, there's that one slide that you laid out kind of the progression that people were really interested in. So AJ, thank you. It was very comprehensive and really gave us some things to think about as far as next steps and provided a roadmap. So we thank you for that. Then I stepped in and we held a roundtable about just building that statewide network. And I had 3 prompts or questions that were posed. We had an opportunity to participate in breakout groups. And the participants really gave us great feedback about how to identify some of our shared goals, what does what might a governance structure look like? Do we want to create joint statements? And really, when you think about what happened on that day, there was a lot of synergy around strength in numbers, being on one page, creating joint statements, and really working together. And so our next steps, before I go to the next steps, we concluded with Lawam, our vice chair, summarizing, and she did such a beautiful job, just summarizing the morning. And although we had planned to go from 10 to 1, we were done a little after 12. Brevity is a virtue, and we didn't need to stay any longer than we needed to. And so Lawam was just really artful in summarizing and just giving some reflections from the Police Accountability Board because we were the host agency. After that happened, we convened for about 15 minutes, a group of us, just to do a little bit of reflection, what we thought went well, what we might improve upon, and we wanted to tighten up those next steps. So included in the next steps are a summary of the meeting, so that will be sent out to each participant. We will also send out the themes and what suggestions for a governance structure. The other thing, and I am so sorry, I'm remiss, I do want to acknowledge that there were 2 other entities that were online with us. NACOL, the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. Dr. Tina Barr joined us, and she stayed afterwards to provide some feedback. She had nothing but positive things to say, and she said this really has strong potential for a blueprint for how things could happen at the national level. So that was very positive. And then we had 2 individuals from LEMIO, which is law enforcement for, I always get the misconduct investigative office. We had Tyler Nims, and we had one of the associate AGs from the Buffalo office. And he really wants to meet and talk and figure out how he can provide support. And Tyler Nims, who leads LEMIO, said anything that he can do to provide support within his limits that he's willing to do. So we received significant support and kudos. So thank you to everyone sitting here at the table who participated, those in PACE. I think we had all of our staff on. They actually had a watch party in the conference room with snacks. And when we finished and came out into our offices, everyone just was very joyful and said, what a great opportunity. So this is just the beginning, as I shared in my comments. We have more to do. We have miles to go, many more miles to go before we sleep. But this is a great beginning. And so we are thrilled that an idea that began with our former chair Knox we were able to advance those ideas much further and help to have many of those things come to fruition. So again, Larry, I acknowledge you in the virtual space, but I want to acknowledge you here again. Thank you for having that idea and enabling us to push it forward. So Margaret Mead, I think, said it best, right? Never doubt what a group of small, committed individuals can accomplish, right? Because the impossible can happen. So thank you. I wanted to give that. So I will now move into my formal report. And I have just a few things that I want to share. I'll start with community engagement and public input. If you remember last month, I spoke about the From Call to Arrival survey, and that is looking into the response times of RPD when individuals call 911. So we have participation that's continuing to grow. Community members and advocacy groups alike are recognizing how important this work is. We had media coverage, we were interviewed by Spectrum News, by the Rochester Beacon. So that's helped to amplify visibility and encourage broader input. We do have our survey online, so I would encourage you to go to rockpab.org. We have over 100 online responses and 34 paper responses. And Yvonne, you will be pleased to hear that it's offered in multiple languages. So it's not just English, we have, I think, 4 or 5 languages, 5 languages.
Good.
So that has happened. Last month, we were waiting for our first listening session to occur. That did happen at the Frederick Douglass Arts Center. We had great dialogue, I was there. And our next session is scheduled for October 14th at Ibero, and I strongly encourage and hope that some of our board members, if not all, can attend. And I believe, Larry, it is in your district, so if you can make that, it counts as one of your district events.
On my calendar.
So you can get 2 birds with 1 stone. Additionally, connections from that event, we have a SUNY Rockport student who wants to conduct her undergraduate thesis work on PAB. She wants to interview board members and staff. So I'm looking at her institutional review board or her IRB document, and we'll sign off on that after I make sure all the ducks are in a row. And also the Monroe County Deaf Equity Council reached out for collaborative opportunities because the gentleman shared with me that public safety and reimagining public safety, certainly he believes is a priority with the council. With youth and education, we will begin outreach in schools and colleges this month. We're going to present on PAB's role and as far as rights that young people have. And then in September, the community engagement team participated in 22 outreach activities that reached 546 community members. And so you have that information on the document. And for the public, after our board meetings, we do upload these reports so you have access to all of the information that I'm sharing. Because as you know, our tenets are accountability and transparency. So we want to make sure that you have access to those documents. Statewide and national leadership on September 15th. I joined statewide and national experts, including media from the New York Times, to reflect on the 5 years since the repeal of 50A. And so I emphasized some of our challenges under Locust Club 2 and the ongoing need for persistence, litigation, and advocacy to achieve transparency. I already mentioned the statewide consortium. We are planning for the NACO Forum, again, National Association of Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. We're preparing to present. We were chosen to present at the conference at the end of this month. And I was also asked to co-lead the Executive Director Forum with executive directors across the United States and territories. So it gives us opportunities to exchange best practices, continue to build strong coalitions, and elevate our presence in Rochester. As far as staff development and internal culture, our staff participated in the Undoing Racism training for 3 days, and it is intensive. Was hosted by the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. And the training, again, is very intensive, and it provides tools to advance racial equity and justice, which aligns with our charter requirements, and it's a charter training. And I just want to thank City Council for approving the funds to be allocated for that. So thank you, City Council. And in an internship program, we welcome Jay Manuel. He's an RIT student in information systems. How we received Jay Manuel as an intern, he was with City Council interning. He came to a presentation here and said, I absolutely, unequivocally want to be at the PAB in the fall if I can. And so he was thrilled when we chose him, and he is a perfect fit here. So he's working in the PACE department, Public Affairs and Community Engagement, and has already made significant contributions. I will say, when I had my initial onboarding conversation, his very last question to me was this: Dr. Myers-Small, what type of impact would you like me to make at the PAB before I leave? I was like, lots. So just he's sharp, and we're learning from him as well. Just a quick union update. The city and the union signed a 30-day MOU, memorandum of understanding, maintaining salaries and schedules through October 20th, 2025. So negotiations continue, and we remain hopeful there'll be steady progress and that they can come to a mutually agreeable agreement. Under strategic, legal, and operational updates, I'll pause for just a minute. For Locust Club 2, council continues to advance our appeal. Also, I want to just briefly talk about the PAB board meeting relocation, because we spoke about that last time. We have some internal and technical delays, so the relocation has been pushed to December 2025 or January 2026. And I'll continue to keep board members in the loop about that and where we're moving. When we talk about collaboration with the Rochester Police Department, I continue to have those monthly meetings. So we did reach agreement, and we were provided the data that was needed to complete the annual report. And again, charter required annual report. So for the first time, the Police Accountability Board in the annual report will fulfill all of the charter indicated requirements short of investigatory fees. So I'm really pleased, and we're looking forward to presenting that document to the board and the community, our staff, and the public. We continue joint planning on the customer service survey for RPD. We just have to sign off on a data sharing agreement, and then we can move forward. We're continuing to send the complaint referrals to RPD for processing. And I really want to pause here for just a minute, and Larry, I always appreciate, says this. I want the public to again hear that while we cannot investigate individual alleged misconduct, we still can receive complaints. So please continue to submit your complaints. And if you look at the website utilization report that I included, the submission of complaints continues to be a highly utilized aspect of our website. So the community is still very interested in making sure that they get that information to us. So while we cannot investigate individual misconduct, we can look for trends. We can look for patterns that we're seeing, and we can report on that through an oversight investigation. So that still is happening. And I did want to say public that the chief did extend an invitation for board members individually to come down to the public safety building, and he would be more than willing, Chief Smith, to give you a tour and to have a meeting with you. So I want to make sure that I articulate that again.
Can you pass me the mic?
Should we contact him through you or?
Well, the question was, how do we get in touch with him? If you'll send an email to Victoria and myself, then we'll make that connection. Was that your question? Okay. Under celebrations and acknowledgements, to my knowledge, Milan and Victoria celebrated birthday in September, so we want to acknowledge that and thank them for their ongoing contributions to the PAB, so happy birthday again. And a few weeks ago, board and staff attended the Connected Communities Gala, reaffirming our shared commitment to neighborhood revitalization and accountability. In the month of September, we received 8 complaints. And so some were internally generated, some were submitted online, some were through the United States Postal Service or snail mail, some came through the PAB hotline, and some came through PSS. We want to make sure we use a lot of lingo and jargon and acronyms. PSS stands for Professional Standards Section, which in layperson's terms is internal affairs. And so when we receive these complaints, we categorize them according to the form of misconduct. So while we had 8 complaints, they can fall along more than 8 categories. So the most were failure to act, followed by use of force, discourtesy, and policy. And just again, a single complaint can fall over multiple categories, okay? I spoke a little bit about the website engagement. September website engagement remains strong, very similar to August. So it's a confirmation that our website continues to serve as a trusted information hub for the public. Page views, user engagement, and file downloads showed continued activity. And again, I have to reiterate, the submit a complaint page and downloadable reports receive the strongest engagement on our website. And you can see that report is in your packet, and that will be uploaded to the website after the board meeting. So again, when we made the request to City Council to increase our webmaster from half-time to full-time, it's just, we're seeing the return on the investment with having that be approved by them. So closing reflections, we continue to have the legal challenges, right? But we also are gaining momentum in credibility, visibility locally across the state and particularly nationally. Again, this statewide consortium will be discussed at the NACO conference in October. And we're gaining momentum with community trust with all of the work that the public affairs and community engagement team is doing. They were out in the streets, again, to be colloquial. So our statewide consortium, we're doing grassroots listening sessions, and we really are demonstrating that Rochester can be a leader in oversight reform. But the only way that we can do that is the staff that we have who are very dedicated, a very supportive board, and the community that continues to trust us by submitting complaints and engaging with us on our website and in person. So I'm certainly grateful to you individually and collectively as a board for this continued partnership that really helps to sustain a viable and successful agency. That concludes my section.
Okay, very good.
So do we have any departmental updates?
I had a question.
Oh,
Those are them.
okay, that's it, okay. Great job.
I have one question, and it's maybe more of a confusing question, but can you confirm, we got the amount of claims that came in, and I think one you said was from PSS, right? So I see, and it's always been this trend, but I just kind of want to reiterate the importance of us existing as an agency. The majority of complaints that we get come from the community to us and not from internal affairs. So the community, I think, is saying we feel comfortable reporting our complaints or our concerns or our policy ideas to the Police Accountability Board, and they want us to be able to do more than just take them in, because they're not deciding to go to Internal Affairs, PSS, to do those complaints. Those numbers have not gone up. They are very low compared to the amount of complaints that we get monthly, even before the court decision. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
This is not a question, but I want to thank you, Dr. Smalls, and thank the staff of the PAB board, and thank the board, but most of all, I want to thank the community, okay, for continuing to have, I want to say, trust in the PAB board, and we need the community to continue to do that, and that the people who are, quote unquote, above or over the city of Rochester, to understand that the people, the community are the ones that want the PAB board, they're the ones that voted the PAB board in, and that we are determined to make sure that we comply to what it is that we can do. And I also want to say thanks to the police, RPD, for the different trainings and things that they're going through, because I'm learning a lot. And I also want to encourage Chief Smith to try to open up to the community some of the trainings or the things that they actually do, the things they have to go through to help the community. And I want to ask the clergies, the churches in the city of Rochester, no matter what your denomination is, that to try to encourage us or to allow us to come into the congregations, okay, or on a Saturday, whatever it is, so that we will be able to bring clarity and understanding to the community through the churches for what it is that we are actually doing. That would also allow the people to know that you are standing with the PAB board. We want to thank you in advance for that.
Well said.
Okay, thank you all for your comments. As you can see, we had a very busy but very productive month since our last meeting. And you've heard many of the highlights, but I will tell you that of all the great things that we accomplished during the month of September, the highlight was on September 30th when we hosted the statewide consortium for police accountability boards. So Larry, I want to thank you again for your vision, and Dr. Myra Smalls for your implementation of that vision, because it really was a highlight event. And I want to thank all the staff for your hard work and your attendance at this very important meeting, because the meeting started, as we indicated, with Larry's vision. We did an oversight, and AJ did a very comprehensive review of how the Police Accountability Board came into existence. Matter of fact, as a result of that, as was indicated, Councilman Wyatt of Buffalo is very interested in starting a Police Accountability Board in Buffalo, New York, which he indicated that they don't have at this point in time. And he wants to be very much involved in our work as we move forward. So Dr. Smalls, thank you for your implementation of that. And I do look forward to NACO not only making this a model for New York State, but for the entire country. Because this is the first time a statewide collaboration had been put together. And it was, as I indicated earlier, it was a tremendous event. And Luam, you did an outstanding job in summarizing the results of the event. It was so well attended and summarized that people didn't want to get off the call. we had to move them in order to get off to end the meeting. But it just speaks to the great work that our team is doing here in Rochester. And I just wanted to commend you all on the great work that you're doing. And with that, I'm going to move on to strategic plan, updates.
Sure. So this evening, the board received a training and an sorry. I have a teacher voice, but yes, I need it for the recording. Let me repeat. just a little while ago, the board and myself received a training from our consultant, Deb Hamner, Breakthrough Leadership, on the strategic plan. And so we've shared over the past several months that we've been endeavoring in this process. So we have an overall strategic plan, then we have divisional strategic plans, and then another unique entity, they're not a division, but the board and the executive office. And so we had really productive conversations tonight about how to solidify and to strengthen what had been drafted from our consultants. The board had significant input, everyone had really positive and productive things to say. But I think it really will help strengthen the document and help strengthen the board to do the difficult and challenging but important work that they do. So more to come. The other thing that I think is important to share is that I met with Deb a few weeks ago, and we reviewed a dashboard, a data dashboard that is aligned with the charter. But not only aligned with the charter, because the charter, for me, as far as data or KPIs, key performance indicators, is the floor. There's other things, right, that we can do. And so we've added that information. We're working with the individual creates dashboard. And so I will be excited soon to share with the board what that dashboard will look like. So again, we always talk about it's want to hold our PD accountable, and it's important for them to be transparent. We have to hold ourselves accountable and be transparent, and what better way to do that but to show how we are progressing on charter aligned activities and non-charter aligned activities. So that will be coming to a theater near you very soon, and I'm very excited to debut that. I think you all will be very pleased at that dashboard, and it will help to demonstrate and show the good work that we're doing. But it also will show some of the frustrations that we experience and how that we don't get certain things or how our work sometimes is hindered or thwarted. So that work or that information will be shown on the dashboards.
Great, thank you. With that, I'll move on to the training committee reports. And as Yvonne indicated, one of the trainings that our board and staff go through is the RPD Police Citizens Academy. And I will say this is the second session that we've been going through in just over 1 year that I've been on the board. So that is going good, and there's more to come there because we want to make sure that every board member and every member of the staff goes through the academy. I'm also pleased to announce that for the National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement, NACO, that we'll be sending 3 board members to attend the national conference on October.
Two
2 board members.
board members, yes. We
Oh.
just had one that's not able to. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. 2 board members will be attending that. And we will be hosting our first board training committee meeting on October 6th, so we can go through all the training requirements that a board needs in order to be proficient at our job, because we got an outstanding staff and we want to make sure that we're as proficient as possible so that we can support our staff moving forward. And that concludes my report. Coming up next is the Youth and Community Engagement Committee, and our vice chair will get that report.
Thank you. So yes, piggyback off of what William Clark said, we do have a fantastic staff, so it's really us plugging into our PACE team, and all the fantastic work they're doing. So we'll be meeting bi-monthly, and we're establishing a calendar cadence for that. But in the meantime, what I can say is some of the work that we've been doing, without trying to be too redundant over what Dr. Myers-Small said, But it looks like, what, as of right now, with us sadly transitioning out of summer and into fall, it's official. What we will start seeing is fewer tabling events, because there are fewer summer events available to us, and transitioning to presentations with schools, colleges, neighborhoods, and communities to have more engaging conversations and plugging into organizations and the convenings that they have. So that is also a call out to our community. If you have any regular meetings or convenings that you'd like us to plug into, please let us know. We would love to have a chat with your people. And then also, according to our charter requirements, our district board members will be conducting or will be planning and having those annual meetings. But upfront, as far as events go, we mentioned earlier, but it's worth repeating, we do have our listening session from call to arrival. I'll hold up the beautiful flyer, Spanish too. And another call out, as the Youth and Community Engagement chair of that subcommittee, to make sure to follow us on socials, because you'll hear updates from us, but our socials really have great information on where we can be found and how to engage with us. So that is my update.
Great, thank you. With that, we will move into old business. Is there any old business? Any new business?
About the seats, some of our seats. I think we still have a two seats open. So I guess we're gonna want to encourage the community again to come and apply for the seats, become part of the PAB board. Because it's an excellent, I want to say, entity. And we are really truly, I want to say we're great and we're trying to get better, but we need 2 more seats, and the seats are what?
Line seats.
We need 2 more alliance seats. So I also want to encourage the alliance to please, send us 2 more seats before the year is out, so that we can be a complete board. And with a complete board, we'll be able to do more than what we're doing right now. So thank you for that.
Just want to add amen to everything she said, and you can go to the Alliance website to get your names in.
Go ahead, give them the website.
Google PABA Alliance.
There's something through our
Or link to our site too.
Okay, great, thanks. Please consider and please sign up. With that, I'm gonna entertain a motion to move into executive session. I will say that I don't anticipate a vote, but we will be discussing the legal and HR issues, so we will return back once I get a vote and an approval to move to executive session.
That's the rule.
Got a move and a second, all in favor? All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight. We will return to adjourn meeting. Okay, hello, everyone. We just returned from executive session. No votes were taken, so at this point in time, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Great. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. We are adjourned.